Okay, all right. So, okay, fine. So we'll proceed with the presentations from member states. I wish I had a list, but in the absence of a list, I'll be random. Please keep reminding me, or maybe I should simply say, who are ready to present from the 16 member states, so that we capture those ones. You can raise up your hand. Please allow me to share screen. Dam Singh, are you presenting on the entrance? Singh?
Yeah, I'm presenting from Namibia, Prof.
On entrance?
Say again?
Or Namibia updates? Hello? Please guide me. We are discussing about national updates. Is it on a national update, or it is a previous topic on national entrance? I want to just to know about that.
No, it's the update on Hpc from Namibia.
It's not national updates, Chairperson.
Okay, so Namibia. Okay, so I take Namibia. Any other country after Namibia? We already had Botswana and South Africa done. Yeah. So we next is Namibia, then
Lesotho.
Lesotho, yes.
And then we've got Zambia.
Zambia.
Yes, those are the only ones that I see their hands up. And then we've got, oh, it has disappeared now. Let me assist you here, Chair. We've got Malawi also.
Okay, Malawi, okay.
So
all right.
In that order, Lesotho, Zambia, then Malawi. So Namibia, Namibia, Lesotho, Zambia, then Malawi.
Perfect, in that order, and maximum of 10 minutes. So 5 to 10 minutes, thereabouts, okay? Yeah, national presentations. Over to you, Namibia.
Thank you, Prof. Thanks for reminding, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so you can proceed, Namibia.
Prof. Maikeka, Prof. Dr. Shithole, participants, Sadc representative. Today's my presentation is focused on the high-performance computing infrastructure facility, and we includes the infrastructure development and another name, Param Arup high-performance computing, some projects, events related to the HPC and the cyber infrastructure and the future scope. So just we want to give some brief introduction about the cyber infrastructure development. First one is the CHPC, donated HPC rack and equipment, and second important high performance computing we known as Param Arup HPC. So in October 2016, the Namibia Institute of Science and Technology and also the University of Namibia received the supercomputers afforded Node Ranger rack. It was donated from CHPC South Africa. This was part of South African government efforts to assist member countries of SK project and its requirement. Subsequently, in 2017, additional hardware related to the supercomputing was donated to NEST as well as Namibia. This includes the management node and the storage of 1 TB and the switches. And I would like to happy to share that this year, 3 students, master students graduated and they used this same HPC facility for their research. In addition to, there is a bilateral relation between India and Namibia. We received a Param Arup high performance computing. This is Param Arup with HPC applications to boost current research on high performance computing. So the name is Param and the Arup. This Arup is inspired from the cheetah in Namibia. Param means from Indian language it is ultimate. Arup means from Nama Damara native language of Namibia, which means animal cheetah, one of the fastest animal and found more in Namibia. So that's why this HPC cluster name is Param Haroop HPC. So a Linux-based open source cluster interconnect a low latency, high-speed network, which includes InfiniBand gigabit Ethernet switches along with the essential softwares. So the important feature, especially during the COVID-19, that these HPC facilities can be accessed from the remotely using the public IP address. So for the users, we allocated some user account who want to do some research related to the HPC and other computing facilities. And they used the HPC facilities from their offices or from their home during COVID-19. The HPC is based on Edge and the artificial intelligence, which strengthen application development of packages for the different disciplines, including bioinformatics, climatology, astrophysics, computational fluid dynamics, computational chemistry, and etc. So this will also accelerate, I already told you that this will also accelerate the research and development project in the war of, again, COVID-19 through fast simulation, some images, and the forecasting. So the user community, including the field of current statistics, were undergraduate students, master and PhD students, and some industry professionals during the training period for the HPC facility. We have some projects that currently running based on the HPC. On HPC, design a hybrid deep learning distributed denial of service attacks, detection mechanism in software-defined networks. These are the some of projects. Many more projects are also running using the HPC. Training and hybriding recommender model to serve as interface engines for recommending learning objects to learners. Design and implementing parallel and distributed algorithm for preventative maintenance, scheduling, replacement, optimization. And one of PhD students is also working for design and implementation of blockchain-based secure edge computing paradigm for time-constant applications, especially the medical application. Regarding the human capacity development, the Namibia Institute of Science and Technology received UNESCO chair in smart and secure environment. And there are chair and 5 members under the UNESCO chair. This UNESCO chair will work in 3 different domain areas: smart communications, big data infrastructure analytics, as well as the cybersecurity. So the aim of the UNESCO chair is in twofold. The students and the researchers will be trained in all 3 priority areas up to the PhD level. It will facilitate collaboration between high-level internationally recognized researcher, teaching staff from the university, other institutions in Namibia, as well as elsewhere in Africa, in Asia, and the Pacific in other region of the world. There are some specific objectives like provide high-level training programs for the graduate, postgraduate, or undergraduate students, and organizing some international and national events. So we have this year we organized some HPC related workshop as well as the conferences. This HPC workshop, 1 week HPC workshop was conducted in collaboration with Sadc India. So there was a limitations of HPC and we allowed only 50 participants from the Namibia. And they were attended, including the researchers, students, scientists, academicians, government officials, and professionals. And in continuation of this workshop, we also organized another workshop for another 65 registered students on the HPC cluster. So we also organized the International Conference on Data Science, Machine Learning, and Artificial Intelligence during 19 August 2021. And Honorable Minister Dr. Ekaz Murangi, she opened the workshop. We received a good response. We selected nearby 50 papers for publication. The publication will be submitted to the ACM digital library for the publications. A workshop on computing and fourth industrial revolution in association with African Strategy for Fundamental Physics took place in the afternoon of in the conference of one session. Just I want to share that African Strategy Fundamental Physics is involved to develop the strategy for physics education in Namibia. Dr. Hpc is also the member of that committee, and that committee is busy to finalize some strategic issues for next 10 years, next year, to develop the computing and fourth industrial revolution in related to the physics especially. So in terms of the future reference and the future class of research, future scope, that HPC cluster Paramaru can be used for the research for master and PhD graduate. And the India government also assured that if we will fully utilize the HPC Paramaru cluster, then they will also upgrade. Exchange program of research, training, joint collaboration activities with Sadc and Sadc institution. We have already survey level agreement with Namibia Static Agency where data is available for the computation. Industry introduce more industry-oriented program for especially high level 8, and level 7 programs. And functional partnership with IT industry, government, including NIPAM and Ministry of ICT in Namibia for IT skills and service rendering. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for allowing me to present the brief presentation on HPC infrastructure in Namibia. Thank you.
Many thanks, Prof. Dam Singh, Namibia University Institute of Science and Technology, NUST, also Namibia University. I loved the use of acronyms that you have developed, especially the DISMILAHI, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. You're calling everyone that all these three are seated on your HPC. Let me invite comments from 64 participants. Any comments or questions, especially member states who have not at all a NICS, even an HPC situated within them. Please ask questions because this is a learning point. 2 minutes. You see from Dr. Hpc, Prof. Singh, really pleased with the progress in Namibia, especially the uptake by stats people in some industries, commendable progress. I think this is a case where Dr. Hpc is very happy to see an ecosystem of government functionaries, private sector, and researchers, universities all coming and using the facility and to showing you a high level of uptake and utilization of the facility. Statistics are increasing. Congratulations, congratulations, Prof. In Namibia. Any comments, colleagues? If not, then we'll have to move to Lesotho. But it's very sad. I mean, we can't. Yes.
We have a hand from Dr. Matsepa.
Oh, yes, yes, Dr. Shiamo Moshegwa. Yes, I see a hand from there, but also Resego. I see a hand. We need to be able to interrogate so that at least we make progress, not being quiet. Yes, yes. You have the floor. Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. And again, to congratulate Namibia and Professor Singh. 2 years, 3 years in a row, he's been making this very good presentation showing the relationship between them and India in terms of collaborating to this effect. I was just wondering from the university side of things, is there a strategy for research infrastructure, in particular articulating how it all fits in with the university's maybe strategy for research intensification? And to that end, is the university investing resources for sustainability of the infrastructure? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Shimo, for your questions. So now from this year, our university included the research strategy in the plan, 5-year plan. So now, yes, it's in the strategic plans and how we will allow for the researcher. The first, as per the guidelines, the first stakeholder or users are the NUST, then second the national, then international. So this is something is guidelines that we need to use the HPC facilities. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Prof. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Nast. But now I invite the last person is Lesego, Peter Lesego from Botswana.
Okay, thank you. I think mine is a follow-up on what Motsakwa asked, because as Botswana Geoscience Institute, we are from a research institution in the government sector, but of course a parastatal. But then in terms of the strategy, which is a follow-up of what Motsakwa said, in terms of having to build capacity, the interest that we will be having as an industry will be to say, is it not going to affect the university in the long run to provide the facilities and provide the training? And then you do a cost resource model in terms of how you can be able to gain as an university, as you offer or build the capacity, and then you engage the industry to maybe provide the resources like the data. Do you have anything that you have planned in terms of mutual cost resources for both beneficiation in the long term, or what do you have plans as a strategy to address something like that?
Take that one, Prof, and thank you, Reseo.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. You know, I also included that university also received the UNESCO chair in smart and secure environment. So university also agreed to support for the project, and this project is 4 or 5 years UNESCO chair. Even though we are waiting the final draft approval from the UNESCO. And that UNESCO, we have included 1 each chair and 5 faculty, 5 professors. So in terms of the human capacity. And regarding some other capacities, we not something is writing, but India government also committed that they will also support the development of HPC and the research in future. Thank you.
All right, I wanted to release you, but before you go, as Lesotho is coming, can you just, I saw in your research programs that are mounted on there's astrophysics, which requires heavy-duty computations in certain cases, if indeed you are really up to the level of astrophysics. What are the minimum capacities? It's linked to the issue of atmospheric, modeling that was presented earlier on. What are the minimum? Is the 1 terabyte storage capacity, and how many petaflops are you talking about, I think, to achieve these kind of computations?
Thank you, Prof, these questions. Right now, still HPC is underutilized. So we have not given the such priority and such strategies for individual users, like astrophysics or some other applications. Of course, when we have if we need more computing power, then we need to allocate in round robin basis, or we need to have some other strategies like storage or other strategies right now. But till now, it's underutilized.
Okay, not yet, still underutilized, and I think this is a call for more utilization. And I think that you will let us know later on whether you are also open for people from Malawi, Mozambique, and others to register. South Africa has granted us to begin to train ourselves there, as we are looking forward to receive facilities. If it's being underutilized, can it be utilized by other members within the region, so that at least we see some cooperation? That's why we are talking about Sadc here. Over to you. I think you want to comment on that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah, sure. We will organize, and we will also need to assistance from the Sadc, especially for the UNESCO chair for partnership. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Lesotho, you are recognized to come on the podium with your slides. Lesotho.
Okay, thank you very much for that. This is the presentation from Lesotho. We are going to present on the progress that we have made so far. My name is Diketen Jokoti from Department of Science and Technology. So the outline for the presentation is I'm going to talk about the plan of action that we had in order to put the HPC into, in order to put HPC into action. And then I'm going to talk about the current developments that we have, and then we'll go straight to the challenges that we are facing. The plan of action. We established the steering committee to oversee the project implementation and evaluation. This was done through several meetings between Lesotho and the team from South Africa. Then we agreed that as part of bilateral agreement, as well as part of the implementation of Sadc cyber infrastructure framework, there will be HPC infrastructure that will be donated to Lesotho. Then after all those deliberations, we were to identify an institution that will host the HPC system once it's in Lesotho. And then the site readiness and the assessment was done. And then after that, we selected the technical leads and the system administrators. Then there was a plan to train the administrators. And then we also had planned to make the technical visits. Once the HPC was deployed, then we planned to make the HPC user engagement workshop. Then eventually, after all those things, then the HPC system will be deployed, and then there will be a technical leads training. Then the current development that we have is that, yes, the steering committee over last year was established, and it did oversee the project implementation and evaluation. And then during that process, the site readiness and assessment was done, and the site qualified. Then the site that qualified was the Department of ICT's data center. So it was the one that was identified to be the host for the HPC system. Then we also identified the technical leads and the system administrators. We identified them from Department of ICT, and then Lesotho Meteorological Services and the National University of Lesotho. Then the Department of Science and Technology was acting as the coordinator for all that process. Then during this year, from July 2021 to September 2021, the technical leads participated in students cluster competition. And then besides that, there was also the HPC user engagement workshop. And then after all those events, the HP system was deployed in April 2021 at a data center in one of the districts away from Maseru, which is Mahalisukhu data center. Then the other training that we did was that of the researchers. We had about 48 researchers who were trained by the National University of Lesotho on the basics of Linux command, including how to connect to HPC. And then these are just the topics that were covered in the workshop. As you can see, we have about 6 different topics. That includes downloading a Linux terminal on Windows OS or using a terminal on Linux OS, editing and saving files on a Linux platform, compressing and decompressing files on Linux, connecting to a remote HPC facility from either a Windows client or Linux client, then transferring the files from HPC to a local machine and vice versa. And this practical example of compiling and running a script on HPC as per guidelines provided at this website of CHPC. Then coming to the challenges that we faced, well, the assessment was done, but then the site readiness, yes, it was done on the finance data center, which is in Maseru. this is where it was agreed that the HPC equipment will be deployed. But due to the challenges that we faced, it is in the second building it is in the second building. So it was not possible for us to deliver the HPC there. So we had to opt for the data center outside of Maseru as the second option. So since it was the second option, these are the challenges that we faced. There were plans for electricity connectivity that were supposed to have been done in August, but our electricity company postponed them to September, and up to now, the connectivity is still currently in progress, but they are working on it. Then there's also configuration of servers for network connectivity, which is also in progress, but it is going slowly due to that lack of electricity. Then we also discovered that this HPC equipment was too big to fit into the server room in Mahalisuk, the server room environment in Mahalisuk. And it was also discovered that its power connectivity is different from the ones that are already existing in the room. So there was a decision that it's wise that we could migrate the HPC data rack into the installed data racks already that are in the server room environment. And this was done, and it was successfully completed. Now, what is lacking is the configuration that will be done once the installation of the server is complete. And this one also, we are going to use through the bilateral cooperation, we are going to be working with CHPC experts that will help us to complete that. So we also have identified that still, much as there have been some trainings that have been done, there is still a need for capacity building for our technical leads to operationalize the HPC. And then there's also a need for capacity building for the system administrators for the smooth running of the HPC. Then the next slide, please. This is the last slide where I'm showing the where now the migration of the HPC data rack has been done. It has been completed. I just wanted to show this picture. This is now in the server room environment. And we believe that after this and after configuration, now we will now start having some programs that will be run on the HPC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I like that picture. Botswana, no, Lesotho, sorry, not Botswana. I interact with Botswana a lot, so Lesotho. I like that picture. Congratulations, Lesotho. Now we can see the lights flashing. I love the green lights there. You know, I'm happy when he sees that, he says, yes, we've conquered. I wish that when you talked of having tried to do remote login, you know, access using a Windows machine, using a Unix, Linux, any flavor remotely, it was possible. And then you tried to do file transfer. It was also successful. Did any of the researchers who normally fail to do simulations on their rugged computer laptop, but they want to design good antenna, circuits, you know, genetics, did you give them a chance to simulate remotely on that? Because that's what we expect. If that happens, then the excitement grows even much more than the green lights we are seeing there. But anyway, that is for the future. Open for comments. Open for comments, colleagues. Let's intervene. I see Lesotho Kiba Masiu for a comment or addition. Is your presentation, is it a country add-on? Lesotho Masiu.
Yeah, thank you so much, member states, for giving us this opportunity. And I just want to add on what my colleagues has just presented with a nice presentation. And I just want to applaud our South Africa team, Dr. Stoll and his team, for the effort that they have made on us in order to make sure this is happening. You know, they were pushing us each and every week to make sure that this is happening, and I would just say that thank you, and they should continue to support us and be angry. I remember there was one time whereby Dr. Stoll was so angry to us, and we thank you. I also thank you for that, because with his effort and his push, we have managed up to so far. For now, let me say thank you so much. This is how we have progressed so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Akiba Misowe. This is called Hore Anger, and Dr. Hpc continue to be angry with Africa. In Pan-Africanism, we have to be angry with each other, sometimes to make things happen. It's Hore Anger. Any other comments, colleagues? Yes, I see Rebusas and Erakate. Let me start with Rebusa. Again, Lesotho. You and Akiba, you can lower your hands. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mekeka. I first of all want to thank Medicating for the lovely presentation. But mine also is just a small comment. I want to also thank Dr. Setole, because we are in close collaboration with his institution, the CHPC. He has been very helpful because we are assisted or coordinated by Medicating's department, the Department of Science and Technology. So also we have been in contact with Dr. Setole about the use of the HPC, because he mentioned, like he mentioned in his earlier presentation, that the first thing that's done is the setup of the infrastructure, which is what Medicating has just detailed here for Lesotho. But also on the next step, which is the use of the HPC, that's where institutions like Lesotho Med Services are coming in, or are supposed to come in in order to make sure that the utilization of the infrastructure that has been set up will be put to near optimal use, so that it just doesn't lie as the infrastructure there. So that's just the small comment that I want to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lesotho. And I'm told that everyone now has been promoted, so you can engage freely. Congratulations and thank you, Anneline and technical team. Erakate, are you raising for intervention or something else? Erakate.
Yeah, that's Edward Rakate from South Africa, Chair, and thanks for giving me the time. I think for me, it's also to thank Lesotho for their achievements. I think when the end of the presentation, when I saw the light on those racks, I became happy that at least we seem to be arriving to our destination. And this has been, as colleagues indicated, some kind of the steps that we take or we took with Lesotho to get to where we are. And again, I think it's leading to you, Chair, or for Malawi as our next country to deploy the HPC. I think the challenges or the lesson learned from what Lesotho has presented. You remember, it's one of those other discussions that I had with you last week. So we'll make sure that when we deploy the HP system to the next country, we'll avoid to go through the same challenges. I think all the challenges that they alluded to is the one that I said we need to make sure that the site is ready. We need to send our technical team to do the site visit. And I'm really grateful that from the Malawi side, we've already engaged the DVC and the plan that you indicated to us. I hope through that we can able to help other countries, and we follow the same kind of the process that will help us to ensure that the system get deployed. And important to that is that the system get to be used for the sake of the research. So thanks, Chair, for allowing me to put that a few words. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Johansen Lakate, for this. We pleased, and Malawi team is here. They will say it whether they are ready or they will have given up after seeing situation in Lesotho. We'll know from them. Okay, I think there is a good message I see, which I need to read quickly here. Well done, Lesotho. Looking forward to the future engagements between the LMS, but also the Center for High Performance Computing. So this is an invitation, open one. Also from Michael Zimba, thank you, Dr. Sithole and the team for making difference. Congratulations to Namibia and Lesotho. I think reaching this far, also, of course, from Anneline Morgan, congratulations to Namibia and Lesotho for the great progress. We have promoted everyone to panelists. Please accept to move over. Let's also be inviting all other member states who have not experienced the green light. Through this, I see Dr. Hpc Workshop will be happy to see you having the green light. Let's change our region. Our story should no longer be what we used to be. Zambia, you were very ready already, and please share your screen in Zambia. Vaneba, welcome on board. Over to you, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. For giving us an opportunity. My colleague will take us through the slides. Rushing for another meeting, but my colleague, Mr. Simfukwehene, will take us through. But I just wanted to say thank you, Chair, for giving us an opportunity. This has been another year where we've done things differently. I listened to Dr. Sithole when he was talking about the deployment of EduROM. We've done that, and we've gone further to engage our mobile network operators on how we can ensure that the accessibility to resources like high performance computing and also learning materials can be made easier to our researchers and learners. So we've engaged these mobile network operators to have our EduROM SSID broadcasted or carried by these network operators. And also in the slide that my colleague will be presenting, I think you will see that what we have done is we have used the big blue button as an addition to Zoom, tool which can be used for video conferencing. So we've used big blue button. I think there are limitations in there. And also we are looking at mindset change. And so in this slide, you will see we're talking about the 3 A's. You have to accept that things have changed nowadays, and you have to adopt. And
our friends from Zambia, your slides are not on my end moving. Have you started rolling them or as yet?
No. I'm just giving a background.
Okay,
so
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we are basing this on the 3 A's, which is accept that things have changed nowadays. Also adopt, you have to borrow because these are not your ideas, they are other people's ideas. And you have to adapt means you have to entrench the new things that have come in, which is digital transformation. All we have gone is digital. So we have to accept that. And also the things that we're preparing for next year, they're exciting things. We're hoping that our students will also take part in the HPC competitions next year. We're hoping that we can have a physical competition because we see the trends of COVID-19. I think this time the numbers are a bit low, though they're going up. So maybe the organizers can try to look at the dates, to move dates so that maybe it's the end of November when temperatures are still high. So I leave it to my colleague, Mr. Simfukwehene, to make our presentation. Thank you, Chair, and sorry that I have to rush for another meeting. A good day.
We will miss you, but I think someone is taking over from you, and we hope to see you again next time. All the best for the meeting.
Thank you very much, Chair.
All right, good afternoon.
Mr. Simfukwehene, over to you.
I hope you can hear me.
Very well, proceed, you are recognized.
Yes, please. My name is Henry Simfukwehene from Zamren, systems engineer. Happy Edward and Anneline. It's been long since we met physically, so I think we miss each other a lot. So we must find time just to catch up. So some of the problems that Stein alluded to is that the pandemic in itself this year as well, we faced similar challenges as last year, but not as big as we saw it last year. So this year, our problems actually have reduced, but we still highlighting them because we would like them to be fully removed from our problems list. So some of the solutions that we did to alleviate the problems are that we still continued pushing our institutions to use Moodle or Blackboard, Google Classroom, and also we through our engagements with other stakeholders, we were able to scale up our private OpenStack cloud, which our member institutions can use. So we're also looking at bulk procurement of internet capacity. Of course, this is through our Ubuntu Net Alliance. So we are hoping that as we also pay for the AC3 project, our internet pricing can actually even come down more. So now we are fully fledged in pushing for the use of Moodle in Zambia. And as Zamren, we do actually capacity building trainings for all our lecturers from various forms of institutions. So we take them through a training for about 5 days, each institution. So which again, we repeat every quarter. This is just to ensure that these lecturers are still using these tools. So like Sten said, we set up a Big Blue Button cluster, which currently takes about 750 users at any given time. So I think before the end of the year, we plan to scale it up to about 1,000 users. And the reason why we are using Big Blue Button is because not every institution can afford to buy a Zoom license. So as an NREN, we gave them an alternative of Big Blue Button. And I think, as you can see from last year, I think we reported that our Moodle instances in our data center were standing at 24. As of today, they are at 42 Moodle instances. So the use of Eduro, this has also grown from 116 to 121 institutions. Then also, because we realize that students, we may be providing Eduroam, but they don't have the actual gadgets to use Eduroam. So through Astra Learning, we brokered at of course a reduced cost, where 6,000 tablets came in the country, and these they were gotten by one of the universities, and they are being used by one of their students. So as also Stein said, we are in discussions with our various mobile network providers, so that we can use a private Eduroam APN, so that students and researchers can use Eduroam from actually their homes, so that we do not just restrict Eduroam access to the campuses, but we're also looking at they can access Eduroam from wherever they are using a mobile network operator. So these are discussions, of course, they are ongoing, because they need to we need to have certain things in place, and also certain agreements in place. Okay, so like we said earlier on, we operate a private OpenStack cloud specifically for our member institutions. So sorry to Malawi, we cannot maybe allow you for now to use our OpenStack cloud, because it's a very small cloud. But as we scale it up, maybe we can also open it up to others to use it. So currently, our OpenStack cloud has got about 120 virtual CPUs. Our RAM is at 628 GB, and of course, the 21 TB storage is sitting in a safe cluster. So on the HPC side of things, we were able to migrate from Ranger to now fully running on the Stampede HPC system. And Dr. Sitole, we are happy to inform you that all the 40 nodes in the rack, they were provisioned successfully without any problem. So for that is a big thing for us. So going forward, the next training that we shall have next year with the help of CHPC, this training will be done on the Stampede cluster system. So what we have done is that we have maintained most of the software stack that was running on Ranger, so that when the users log on onto Stampede, they'll find similar modules already running, of course, on Stampede. We had 2 teams from Zambia, from the University of Zambia and also from CBU, participating in the first round of the student cluster competition. So this, I think, next year we shall send more teams, because also it's also a good learning ground for our students as well. So finally, I think on the updates, our members who are now getting internet connectivity from Zamre, they're standing at 132. Our eduroam institutions are at 121. Then the instances running in our cloud platform are 112, and of course 42 of those are Moodle instances. And of course we've got 44 Big Blue Baton institutions that use our Big Blue Baton on a daily basis. Our Astria learning is at 4. Our federated identity is standing at 6, and of course our HPC users are now at 25, with 14 being local, and of course 9 being international. And for those of you who don't have your own HPC systems, you are free to get in touch with us. We can allow you to use our HPC system. So in a nutshell, that's our update from Zambia. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, both Simfukwe, but also Mkandawire. Sten Mkandawire, I think I've worked with him for decades, but he's gone. Also Simfukwe, very great things there. There are many comments coming on the chat commending your work. I think reading from Hpc Workshop says, congratulations on the OpenStack, Zambia. Malawi can always get access on Sadc OpenStack, sitting at the Center for High Performance Computing. Thank you for that. Well done on migration to Stampede from Ranger. Good luck with the Student Cluster Challenge. From Brian, excellent progress for Zambia, and especially with the small team you have on the ground. And then Brian, you should come in here and congratulate Zambia. Okay. So congratulations from Dr. Shiamu Moshegwa to Zamlen on this work, especially on the Moodle to your institutions. When he says Moodle, there's a question from, I think from Brian, that I'm curious, why you settled on Moodle since there are alternatives out there. This is what you have to at least to respond to, Sifukwe. Was there any comparing reason for Moodle? And of course, Edward Rakati, South Africa, says, good indeed, excellent work. So yeah, any other questions? Let me see if there are hands up. No hands raised so far. Then can you take up on Moodle? Were you left without options, or this is your choice?
No, we had options, but the challenge that we have, for example, for an institution, let's say to use Google Classroom, which is the next free alternative, is that they must first be onboarded on the Google suite for for education. So most Zambian institutions were not on Google Suite for education. So we had to look at what is the next alternative. Secondly, because Moodle is open source, it's free, which we can easily download and also deploy for them. Then also secondly, we looked at the capacities of using a Moodle. Most of the institutions had some people who already knew how to use a Moodle, so that's why we went into the Moodle way. Then also it's also good to add value onto our NREN network. We don't want to be pushing all the traffic outside the country. We want to keep this as local as possible. So these are local Moodle instances, so that whoever is accessing them, they are just within the NREN network. So those were the various reasons why we went for Moodle.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Bennett Kankuz from Malawi is asking, says, kudos to Zamlin, but how is Zamlin financially sustaining its technical operations? What business model are you, running to succeed? Small team, but with great progress and sustainability as seen. There is also here saying from Dr. Mushegwa, well done for hosting a very successful Ubuntu Connect 21 and a good discussion there on COVID-19 resilience. Brian, I don't know if I'm a host or panelist, but good job, Henry, in staying. So both Stein Kandawile and Henry Simfukwe, you are receiving great congratulations from everybody for the work that you're doing. Don't stop here. Sadc is proud of you and help your brothers and sisters within the neighborhood. Yeah. And you also proposed that we should have a physical meeting, and which Anneline, I think, and the team support. And that this could be next year, a physical meeting. Botswana says, Audrey says, the Sadc should be very proud for this project. Congratulations to Anneline, relentless passion. I remember the first meeting 11 years ago, like yesterday, and one could not have anticipated this impressive progress from countries. The hand-holding from Dr. Sitole's leadership and team interventions in building our infrastructure is understatement. Well appreciated, colleagues. We need a Sadc cyber infrastructure portal for sharing success and lessons, but also communities of practice. It takes willing and enthusiastic colleagues for this too. I think there's a lot of brilliant messages, and I see now that there's no more hands. The rest are messages. We can copy, but also save those ones. I see a hand up from Dr. Hpc Tole. After him, I'll request Malawi. I see Godao Nyurenda to present, but when you present, also make a commitment. Whether you think you can register today, Malawi team can register on Sadc, OpenStack, and begin to do things, or we need 2 or 5 years to reflect upon that. I think we are all here. We need to have serious movements. And if it's so, who will do that? Because the team is there. We have been received an open access. Dr. Hpc Tole, over to you, Dr. Hpc Tole.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to say on the report, very impressive, Henry and Stein. What we need to emphasize is what the Chair took up this morning to say, for us to grow, we need to be able to show impact, and impact can only be shown by the programs that we accelerate with high performance computing. So I know that Zambia has got a lot of scientists, especially in Copper Belt, that are in the engineering space. And I would like to try and encourage Henry and the team to bring those people, so that in the report also we should see what sort of scientific and engineering projects are taking place. But overall, this is very good. So we need to push on that part of the applications of the HPC, so that we demonstrate whether we need more computational power or we don't need. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hpc Tole. Over to you, Malawi. Go down, Nyirenda, introduce yourself, your team, and what you have. You have within 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, we recognize.
All right, thank you, Chair. Thank you, colleagues. I am Gudo Nyirenda, presenting on behalf of Malawi. And I am with Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. Okay. So unlike Botswana, Lesotho, Zambia, and the like, Malawi as a country, we are still in the initial stages of establishing an HPC facilities. So currently we do not yet have the HPC facilities. And what I'm presenting to you this afternoon is Malawi's progress in establishing the HPC facilities. So this proposal contains two aspects. One is to establish a Sadc regional facility or cloud, and then to establish a national facility, the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure System. Okay, I will come back to the team later on in the presentation. Okay, so through you, Chair, the proposal that I'm bringing to this House is to establish the two items, as I said before, both the regional and the national integrated cyber infrastructure system. You would agree with me, Chair, just to reflect back on history. There was a joint ministerial meeting of education and training and science and technology during the meeting in June 2016 in Botswana. It was approved that we should have the cyber infrastructure framework, which was also subsequently endorsed by the Sadc ministries responsible for communication and ICT in October 2016 in Eswatini. This was followed by a ministerial approval in June 2018 for the implementation plan for the framework to guide the implementation of the regional cyber infrastructure project. So, Chair, what I'm bringing to you is the proposal from Malawi, one, to establish a first-tier regional facility, the regional HPC facility in form of a Sadc cloud housed by a member state, agreed upon by all the member states. The second one is to establish a second-tier national integrated cyber infrastructure system in Malawi. The rationale, Chair, behind this is, as several presenters have indicated from yesterday to today, that as a country, as a region, data value, data monetization, and the cross-border data flows are becoming quite critical. So these are some of the critical issues that every nation, every region needs to consider seriously. Okay. Chair, again, we will appreciate that most countries, particularly Sadc member states, are only producers of raw data. So with no infrastructure and human capital to benefit from, the digital intelligence harvested from this data. And no nation does have the capability to contain the dominance and monopoly of the global corporations outside the Sadc region. Therefore, Chair, there's a need of regional cooperation. And it is for this reason that we propose the Sadc first-tier cloud. Okay. And this is going to advantage the region. Okay, we can engage with the rest of the world on the future of data and digital economy. Okay, Chair, Sadc needs more control over its own data, and we also need to be able to make intelligent analysis on our data. We can integrate the local national clouds, the national HPCs, and but as a region, as a whole, we should be able to speak with a stronger voice. Indeed, as presenters have said, this is towards the development of the region. Okay, Chair, as I said also, Malawi is proposing to establish its own HPC facility. So Malawi is asking for the establishment of its own NISIS as a matter of urgency. Okay. Even the Malawi NISIS and others, these will be feeder facilities to the regional facility that we are proposing here, Chair. Several presenters have indicated that there is a need of redeployment of retiring but usable HPC hardware infrastructure, Chair. And also they have emphasized on the need to build capacity in terms of training. These are very crucial for Malawi as a country and others. So probably we could benefit from such initiatives. In terms of capacity, Chair, Malawi has the required human capital. Currently, Malawi has established a team led by Professor Mikeka, and this team is composed of experts from public universities. There are plans to incorporate members from the industry, but this is still in the initial stages, so we are yet to do the incorporation. Chair, Malawi is also putting up a roadmap to achieve the establishment of the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure System within the shortest time possible. So, part of this presentation, Chair, just tries to echo on the expertise that I've been talking about. So down here we have Associate Professor Mikeka as part of the expertise, as part of the team that Malawi has established. And then apart from that, we have Dr. Michael Zimba, a senior lecturer working with Zuzu University. And we have Dr. Bennett Kankuzi, a senior lecturer working with Malawi University of Science and Technology. We have Mr. Gudo Nyirenda working with Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. We have Mr. Chikumbuso Gremu working with Kamuzu University of Health Sciences. And the rest of the pages down here, Chair, are more expertise that we have included in this document. Chair, this document has been shared with Sadc Secretariat for records. Okay, just to sum it up, Chair, on behalf of Malawi, I present through you a progress report and proposal by Malawi to this House to establish a Sadc regional integrated cloud and the Malawi National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure System. Indeed, Malawi is very interested, Malawi is prepared, and Malawi is ready as of today for the establishment of both the regional and the national cloud. Thank you, Chair. Over to you.
Many thanks. Good Nyirenda. for the presentation regarding Malawi's preparedness to receive or establish national integrated cyber infrastructure system commensurate with the Sadc cyber infrastructure framework and the cooperation and support of the Center for High Performance Computing, HPC, leadership of Dr. Hpc and all our neighbors within the Sadc region. Comments are open. Maybe before I say comments, I see there are about 6 Malawians. Any other Malawian team? Any other additions to what Gudo has said? Let me just see. And then I will open it up for guidance and advice from our experts. So I don't see anything else from Malawi team. And then I think let me open up to everyone to guide Malawi on their ambitions. In the process, I've seen that Kizito is requesting for allocation to French interpretation. I hope the technical team is supporting Kizito, Mr. Kizito, for ICT to allocate. Yes.
Yes, I've also sent them a message, Chair. I've also sent our technical support a message to assist Mr. Kizito. Thank you. All right, and Anneline, you have the floor. I'll continue. You attentively listened to Malawi's interest since June, and you saw Malawi's desire and demand to have the facility. You have been recording everything judiciously, and that the delegation came and met the Malawi team from the policy side before meeting the technical today. What's your take, Anneline? And then that opens up to everyone, including Dr. Hpc after you. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll go at the end, Chair. Let us give the member states, Dr. Stoll. I saw Mr. Rakate Edward's hand was up, and then I will come in at the end. Yeah, thank you, Chair. All right. So yes, let's start with Dr. Edward Rakate, and then we'll go to Dr. Stoll.
I'm not Dr. Mr. Chair, and
Mr. Edward Rakate, you are definitely going to be elevated.
Yeah, I think as ABS already indicated on the chat here, I also want to say this is a very thoughtful and good proposal with all the relevant stakeholders and names that you've already established, that will have some contacts. You will be engaging all the public universities, which is a good platform to say the infrastructure should be a national or a shared facilities. And as also indicated when I was responding to a presentation from Lesotho, that we will make sure that all the challenges or lessons learned, we don't have them at least going forward. And what I've also proposed was that we should have that interactions between the team, technical, the researchers, the stakeholder engagement. That will be important for us to engage the stakeholder, the users up front, even to do the technical visit for the site readiness to make sure that at least the site will be ready to can host the system that will be deployed to Malawi. And I'm sort of so impressed with this kind of a proposal, and I hope the other member states will also see it from Malawi, and they can submit such plans and proposal to the Sadc Secretariat for the implementation of such projects. I think from my side, just to thank you and the team from Malawi for bringing this to this meeting, and together with the other support from member states, we hope by June next year at the ministers meeting, we should be able to give some progress on this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edward, for that. Over to you, Dr. Hpc.
Thank you very much, and I would like to really echo Edward's words. And as I have already put in a chart, I think what we have shown, it is really a great plan. And I think we all know that those who have managed projects, that good projects start with a very good plan. Once you have got a very good plan, you are 80% complete on your project. So I would say that what we have seen that Malawi has put, you are already way ahead. And unfortunately, I tried to get my colleague here, Brian Johnston, to join in the panel so that he can have comments in person. But it looks like he was having problem in the promotion, because Brian, with this type of plan, he's the person who break the walls, go forward, and do all the spade work. And I think he's smiling wherever he's sitting, because that makes his life very easy. And we're really looking forward to work together with Malawi. And I would like to say, again, echoing on Edward, all what Malawi can do is a new mistake. All the mistakes that have been done, we know them. Malawi is not allowed to repeat those mistakes. We are all here as SADC member states to share, and the colleagues have shared on all those. I think what we picked up in Lesotho is that they had this rack with fully populated rack, and it was too heavy to carry up. And one thing, there was no communication to say you can actually depopulate the rack, take out all the nodes and carry them lightly by hand and go and repopulate them upstairs. So those are some of the things where you don't have to lose time. If it is too heavy, there's no elevator, there's always another plan. So we're really looking forward to make this plan to be realized. It's a great plan, and we really support it. Thank you very much, and all the best to Malawi.
Thank you, Dr. Hpc Workshop. Then I do not see any other hand, and I will request Anneline to conclude, and I think that also be concluding the country presentations and updates.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Malawi. I think, as Edward said, we had a very successful visit last week in Malawi with the ministry that Professor Mikeke put together a very esteemed team of directors from all sectors. Professor Mikeke himself, who's also chairing this meeting, will be chairing the project team in Malawi. We've already said we'll have a follow-up meeting, if not end of the year, early next year, and then plan a visit to Malawi. There'll be a visit to do the assessment, discuss with the team, develop a work plan and a roadmap, and then it's all systems go. And I think, as Dr. Stoller said, you've already done 50% of the work by putting the team together and the necessary expertise. So we need to just conclude with the other actions and then discuss the deployment of the infrastructure to Malawi. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Anneline. I see a hand up from Priscilla. You have the floor. You are recognized. Priscilla, was that a hand up or not? We just want to know.
I think Zimbabwe have not yet presented. I think Priscilla wanted to raise that maybe. For the country progress.
Yes, Zimbabwe, you are recognized. We cannot leave you behind. Share with us.
Okay.
Zimbabwe. Can we help Priscilla or Zimbabwe to share their slides or whatever material they have? Feel at liberty to share with others so that they can help to post it online on the screen. I can confirm, Priscilla, that we're able to see everything from Zimbabwe. You have the floor.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present.
Sorry, Priscilla. If the IT
Yes.
team can also allow Priscilla to show her video, so that we're also able to see Priscilla. And Chair, we are also welcoming Priscilla as a new member to this committee. We welcome her very much, and we look forward to working with her since she's taken over at the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and welcome Priscilla Handikatari, Zimbabwe. Welcome to the community. Over to you, and you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. It's my first time to represent Zimbabwe in the Sadc Secretariat Committee. I'm so happy. I have been learning a lot of things that has been taking place within Sadc. So I'm going to talk about Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing, which was commissioned in 2015. But I would like to share with you that soon after the commissioning of Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing, we managed to have trainings in various HPC domains where we are trying to introduce the concept in academics. We targeted most of the university academics. So generally, we managed to do trainings in artificial intelligence and big data, weather forecasting. The other one was bioinformatics, computational chemistry. It was a way of marketing Zimbabwe's Center for High Performance Computing to our users. But during that time, we only have the technicals who were the administrator of the system. So by doing that training, we are trying to market HPC so that we can have HPC users who can come and use the system. But it didn't work very well. Thereafter, until 2017, we managed to rope in meteorological services. They started to use HPC after we have done the training on how to use the HPC system. So generally, the meteorological service department is our major user. So besides that, I'm going to talk of other ICT achievements which has taken place in Zimbabwe. We managed to launch what we call the National Data Center, which is connected to our, the National Data Center is connected to the HPC, whereby when people from Meteorological Service Department are analyzing their data, after analyzing their data, they are able to upload the data to the National Data Center. We decided to do this because our storage is 60 terabytes, while at least 20 terabytes it goes to the file system. So we were having a challenge with the Meteorological Service data. They were modeling per day at least 10 gigabytes. So in terms of storage, we're having problem, which were managed to be addressed by His Excellency. Also, in 2018, we launched what we call National Student Cluster Building Competition Program to our university, which was part of our Sadc duty to deliver human capacity development. So as an institute, we decided to target the students from the academics. So as from 2018, we managed to do at least 2 rounds, which was covering the Linux and the resource management. So in 2019, we couldn't do anything. We were affected with COVID. Most of the students, they were at home. So we resumed the trainings of the National Student Cluster Building Competition in 2020. Then in 2021, we managed to complete the training part. As for now, we are preparing for the competitions, which we are targeting at least 10 universities. So we are preparing to have National Student Cluster Building Competition for 10 national universities in Zimbabwe. So we are hoping after the completion of that competition, we'll be able to participate as well in the Sadc region National Student Cluster Building Competition. So this one is one of our biggest achievements. Also, we managed to introduce what we call National Robotics Program. The National Robotics Program is meant to equip students in the Polytechnic Institute on how to build small robotics programs. So we managed to train at least 2 national polytechnic. This program was started in 2021 and it was a pilot. As for next year, we are targeting at least 8 polytechnics to train them on national robotics program. Then also, like I've said, since the launch of Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing in 2015 up to the 2020, it was operating with the technicals only. So we were lacking on the side of research. So in 2021, we managed to recruit research scientists in the following domain, which is the life sciences, big data and artificial intelligence, engineering, geospatial, and earth sciences. So for these research scientists, they are working on at least 1 project. So in total, we are saying as an institution, we now have at least 4 research programs which are going on besides the major user, which is the Meteorological Service Department. And also, besides the recruiting the research scientists, our HPC operating system was outdated. We were running on Red Hat 6.5 since 2015. So we decided to do a migration from Red Hat to an open source, which is CentOS. So currently we are also doing the testing phase to see how the system is performing on operating system CentOS 7. And we are also targeting by 2022 that we'll be able to deploy our cluster online, because currently it's working on virtual private network. And most of our users, they are having challenges in accessing this cluster. So we decided to deploy it online starting 2022. So besides the ZCHPC, our academic institutions, which are our universities, they are now delivering their lecturers online, which we hope that as for the National Student Cluster Competition, is going to be easier for us also to roll it online starting 2022. The physical one, it was affected by the COVID pandemic, as you know. So as for 2022, we hope to just roll out the National Student Cluster Competition building without any challenges. Also, with our academic universities, we are working towards introducing a degree in HPC. I thank you.
Is that the end, Priscilla?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Priscilla. I was happy that beyond the Meteo services, at least you have research scientists running on there. And I was happy to see one of the areas of fields being engineering. Do you know what project is going on regarding engineering on the HPC? Would you have a detail? Just think about that, so that I want to have at least a reflection on that. Otherwise, open to colleagues for comments regarding Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing facility. Congratulations from Dr. Hpc for the Zimbabwean Center for High Performance Computing, and welcome, Priscilla, to the community. You are most welcome. Yes. Any other comments? Any other comments? Yes, I see Botswana, Resego, Peter. You have the floor.
Thank you, Prof. I thank you, Priscilla. I think your presentation is good, because from my side, it's even more interesting in the sense that after you have managed to roll out the HPCs, you were interested in getting the users to use them, and you experienced a couple of challenges until you got the meteorological department, which is similar to Botswana's scenario. And the main issues that I wanted to follow through, I wanted to see if they're similar to our case here in Botswana. In such a case, like, for example, we'll be finding that either the concern would be, was it that you were providing the facilities for users to use it for free, or you had put up a cost for revenue collection, or just to generate a bit of income? Or maybe also, was it maybe a network issue from the users in terms of their connectivity? And then the other part would be to say, for maintenance purposes, do you have other means and maybe sustainable means of saying if you are going to engage a lot of users and trying to handle the traffic and the congestion, were you going to have any other additional costs that you have already anticipated you generate to be able to handle that? And then the last one is the issue of the security of the data. For example, from my side, we handle the mineral data for Botswana. Any related geoscience data that addresses all the minerals in Botswana is under our portfolio. So if in case we are to put that information there, there are parameters of where, of course, the data security aspect is concerned. So before we would even take that endeavor, we would need to be sure that those issues are well taken care of in terms of also to address the ownership of that data in terms of how you are going to disseminate it. So I think those are the areas that I wanted to find out from your case and the scenario in Zim, how different it could be in terms of your experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Resego. I think those are very important rejoinders. I see Stembiso Nkwanazi. You have the floor, Stembiso. I would like to request Priscilla just to take note briefly of this so that you can rebate. Yes, Tembiso.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Priscilla, thank you so much for sharing the progress made by Zimbabwe. It's really encouraging. My comment, though, is that it will be interesting for me to see your infrastructure architecture, especially on how you have linked computing with your data storage, as well as the software you use to manage your data and transfer thereof. So those are my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think if you have any picture, Priscilla, that you can pull just to show diagrams would be interesting. And in fact, I had in mind Hpc, Dr. Hpc to comment. You show us a OS migration from Red Hat 6.5 to CentOS 7, and what would be the next, and what would be the advice from people who have taken of this drink before? What would be the comment from Dr. Hpc? That's what I wanted to say. I think let me ask Dr. Hpc to comment on that, and then you can take off the questions from Lesego.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. I thought I should just comment on 2 points that have been raised, which are really critical in us building the strategy for high-performance computing. One being the security of the data. I think it has been coming for the second time now. And the other one, which is the cost model, or let's say overall, what is the business model of the HPC? So maybe Priscilla can comment specifically on ZCHPC on how they do that. But overall, one of the things in terms of security, we are looking at this, that if you put so much computational power, rest assured, the world is going to be interested in it, especially the board programmers who don't have anything to do, otherwise that we call the hackers. They will be interested in that and to see what does it have. So it is always to make sure that security is very important, and these are some of the things that we can always share with the colleagues on how we can put the security. For an example, in South Africa, under the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure, we have got the cybersecurity team that is looking at that. So we have got what we call the CSAT, which is the Cybersecurity Incident Response Team. That is looking at the vulnerability of the institutions that use the cyber infrastructure so that we can be able to provide them with advanced notice if ever there are some sort of activities that we suspect. And also on the HPC systems, it is very important that we look at the security of the data. I have not shown in details what the HPC system in South Africa is used for. We have got over 80%, those are academics. We do have got some of the government departments. We also have got the private industry in there. The levels of the security of these industries is different. And fortunately, with the HPC systems, you can be able to do some various demarcations by rules and by configuration to be able to provide those levels of security, just simply by using all the tools that you have as a system administrator or system design on HPC systems. There are some of the users who will require a little bit more security than what you can be able to provide. We obviously would look at that, and also you can do fit for purpose for this type of security. For an example, one time I visited the San Diego Supercomputing Center, and I was looking at what other people are doing. And I got into the data center. When I got into the data center had the farm of the computers in there. But right in the middle, there was one rack which was sitting in there. Inside the data center, it still had like a steel rack around it, and it had cameras around it inside the data center. And when I found out, it was like some critical mission system which was being put there, and the data was there. So you can see the different levels that you can go into. So I'm just giving that. That was really an extreme case, but those type of things are possible. So the design and in terms of security, you can do everything in this. So when people are looking at it, as long as you will be, as a client, prepared to pay for that level of security if the national data center does not cover up to that point. So you should be happy to be able to be provided for that. But technology is there, it is available. Are you able to cover those costs? So when we look at the cost model, and I think this thing is very important, what I said right at the beginning is that this type of infrastructure are looked as national infrastructure for competitiveness. So it is very important in their definition, and it is the same globally, because the nation has to make a decision. We want to invest in this. So that's where we start. So the first thing is that there should be that motivation from our governments to invest in this. So that's the first thing, to invest as government. Then from there need to be metrics in which we, the operators of these facilities, provide back to our governments in terms of the return on investment. And the return on investment can be not just be given in terms of rands and cents or whatever currency that we use, the pulas and tabas and the likes. So it could be on how are we progressing as a nation, and we can define those metrics. It could be the research outputs of the country. It could be how the state-owned entities now are operating and the efficiency. Those things cannot be monetized, and those metrics should be agreed upfront. And also what I can just say is that that will now define the sustainability, because all the time we're giving back to the country to say, why you invested on this, you can see it. And then we have got also private sector, which comes. And for private sector, the other thing is that we also have to show them return on investment. And it is a lengthy process to be able to bring them, to convince them. And I can give you lots of examples. I dealt with many industries. I was in the industry before. I came into running HPC, various industries, and I know what we look as a return on investment. So these are some of the things that we have to continuously demonstrate to industry, because with that, with the industries, then we can work on the cost recovery basis for giving them the time of the cycles, computational cycles, or consultancy in terms of our expertise in making sure that they realize in using the HPC. So I think those are some of the things that we need to talk. And Chair, I thought maybe I should just share with that because I saw these comments coming about twice now. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate very much Dr. Hpc, because that gives him the perspective that we wanted as an overall. The critical is the assurance that there are tools for security at any level that we want. And secondly, that there are deliberate investments that we may have to make if we are to remain or to be competitive as nations, but also as a region. Over to you, Priscilla, to finalize on the other part, Priscilla.
Okay, I would like to answer the issue in terms of the uptake. What I've been picking in Zimbabwe has been a challenge in terms of the academic accepting the usage of HPC in their work. So I think we did a wrong selection in terms of taking the lecturers instead of taking the students, because after that training, we received quite a number of, we received only one lecturer who was interested with these students to use HPC. And we still have a group of students who comes under that lecturer to use HPC. So I think as for Zimbabwe, we targeted the wrong group. We're supposed to target the students, because also from the lecturers, there's a big knowledge gap in terms of understanding the application of HPC in their work. So that was another major problem. And our HPC is being used for free, especially for the academics, except for the industry. So when we received the research scientists, they started now to target those companies to encourage them to come and use HPC. And we also picked that even in our industry, there's still a very big knowledge gap. So for 2022, we are targeting to carry out trainings specifically for each company which is likely to use HPC as a way of educating them, as a way of luring them to come and use HPC, because most of the companies, they don't really understand where they can apply HPC in their work. So we have decided with our research scientists to go into the industry and try to sell the product. So I think our major challenge was on knowledge gap, targeting the wrong group for the training. And also in terms of accessing the experts in HPC, the prices to hire them was a bit high. So as an institution, which was during the early stages, it was really very difficult for us to access the funds to fund those training. So in short, I would say as an institution, we made a huge loss training those lecturers as compared if we have trained the students. We all picked this during the training for National Student Cluster Competition. Some students are even opting to come to have attachment at HPC only just to understand the architecture, only for them to learn how to use HPC in their studies. So we are trying to, we have actually picked that we really need to take it seriously. That's when we decided to sit down with the principals at the universities to start to introduce a degree in HPC, even to introduce also a certificate which can run even for 2 weeks. So that was our problem. As for the diagram for the integration of the HPC and the data center, may I have your email? Then I can email you how it was integrated.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. It reminds me of the stories we have seen across Africa, but also other regions, Latin America, Asia Pacific, where professors refused to use a computer when it was brought to them. They preferred to use yellow notes for teaching. When the first IC integrated circuit was brought, they refused and they were teaching using transistors. when field programmable gate arrays, FPGAs came as computing device, even the single board computer, Raspberry Pi, they refused and opted for the other things. So yes, we need to be very creative, and I think it's a learning curve, and the younger ones learn faster. We appreciate you for being honest and sharing your experiences in Zimbabwe, so that we can tap from that and see how we can accelerate these efforts. The contacts, we all have been encouraged by Anneline that we submit our documentations to Anneline, but also to Edward. Email addresses have been given, Edward at sadc.int, but also Anneline.morgan at sadc.int international, Edward.lakate at sadc.int. All of us, and all supplementary documents to be submitted to them. But of course, Moshegwa, Dr. Moshegwa, you can have, is it Dr. Moshegwa or some Lesego from Botswana? You can actually request directly or from Priscilla to have what you'd like to see from her. Can we be guided regarding what would be the next? I see on the program several overlaps still, and I think I need to be guided by Anneline. What would be the remaining critical talks and the presenters present at the moment from Sadc? Anneline.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to find out, and thanks again to Zimbabwe for the presentation, and to all the member states who've given the country reports. I just want to see, is there any other member state that we have overlooked in the presentations? We've noted that Botswana and South Africa gave their presentations earlier in the morning, but is there any other member state that we have overlooked before we go to the next item? Okay, so it seems we've...
Sorry,
yes?
Secretariat, maybe just to come in. I guess you saw the message from Mozambique.
Okay.
Professor Lorino could not attend. His flight is still stuck in Portugal, so he does not have anyone that could have assisted. So he sent his apology.
Thank you, Doc. So we know it's fine. Mozambique can share the presentation by email, and then we'll share it with all the member states. So we'll note it in the record to say presentation to be sent by Mozambique via email, and then we'll share to all the member states. But thank you. I think we had a very good turnout of presentations. I know the chair has been taking the list of countries we have presented. So if we can do just a quick recap of the names, I think it was Botswana, South Africa, and then we had Lesotho,
Namibia,
Zambia,
Malawi, and
Zimbabwe. Yeah. I know we are missing Tanzania. I saw the colleagues from Tanzania they are participating, but I'm not sure if they do have a presentation. Tanzania. So we'll also reach out to Tanzania to send the presentation by email. At this point, Mr. Chair, we are slightly running now a bit out of time, but I don't think it's a problem. I will liaise with Edward so that we can continue the session. I might have to just step out at 12:30 just to engage on another session through the Science Forum. But I'll ask Mr. Edward just to continue supporting you, because I think it's important that we do not rush through the meeting, but rather cover all the issues. So let me just find out, do we have the colleagues to give a quick update on the NRENs before we go to the next item? Edward?
Thanks, Anneline and Uche. I think I tried to get one of my colleagues from Sunrise, but seems that is not here. And then I requested Happy to put something together on the overview of Sunrise, but maybe at the later stage you can put something together for Sunrise. And as I also indicated, we've seen from, I think from Botswana, they've also touched on their plans or progress on the NREN. I've also seen colleagues from Zambia. Maybe they can also share overview of their NREN in Zambia. so that the other member states can also see the model that the other countries are using, the benefits and linkage to other institutions as UbuntuNet and all those other things. Even if it's not sort of in a presentation form, maybe we can just do that. I think I just got a message from Ajay. He's here. I think he can provide an overview for Sandra. He just sent me a message now, Chair. And thanks, Anneline.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, AJ can take over.
Yes, before they take over, I want to know who else are remaining so that we program the time properly. We have the Sunland presentation, then which ones? The cybersecurity, Hpc.
The Center of Excellence. Yeah, I'll give it just some few slides. I think it's about less than 5 slides, Chair. Just an appreciation of the outcomes of the study to establish the Regional Center of Excellence on ICT. I think it's just as a way of sharing information with the group.
So then, that will be done by Edward,
or
no?
Myself, myself. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Sandrine, you have the floor, and I'll let you proceed. Anneline, you said half past you move out, but you come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Jay Murkin from Sandrine. I'm just going to run through and give you a quick progress update on the South African NREN. Can you just confirm if you can see my screen?
Confirmed.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so firstly, in South Africa, we have 2 entities that make up the South African NREN. And that's us, Sandrine, under NICIS, and then TENET, the Tertiary Education and Research Network of South Africa. And roughly in a nutshell, Sandrine, as part of NICIS, builds the network, develops advanced services, and TENET operates and manages the network. They have all the NOT functions. They host services, and they are our representative for the South African Union at the Ubuntu Alliance. Now we've done quite a bit of explaining what NRENs are, but just to add that globally, there's more than 130 of them that are active. I've just put this slide in. I'm not going to go through it, but under the NICIS strategic objectives, Sandrine's got the specific ones for providing the NREN functions. And I've left this here in here that you can have a look at it when the presentation is made available. So quickly, a little bit about our network information. We needed a key performance indicator to measure, and in consultation with the Department of Science and Innovation, this is the one that was set. It's called total available broadband capacity, and basically what it is an aggregate of all the capacity across all the links in the network. And for anybody that would like further details of why we converged on using this, I can share those because there's quite a bit of discussion that went into it, and there's a lot of in terms of our previous ones where we were tracking number of sites, and then we were tracking capacity to institutions, but it didn't take into account investments and utilization and those sort of things. So this is the one we finally converged on. Between Sandrine and TENET, we've connected in excess of 350 sites across South Africa. Our international bandwidth is currently 260 gigabits per second, and we have access to 5 different submarine cables. And we have multiple 100 gig backbone links that we've been implementing between the major cities. And then within the cities, we have a number of metropolitan area networks. And I'll put up some slides with diagrams to give you a little bit more of a picture of what it is. But these are the ones we have deployed, and we're currently planning the Port Elizabeth one. So as Dr. Sitole showed earlier in the morning, this is a picture of our network. In terms of the terrestrial capacity, the green lines here is the dark fiber that we've acquired, and these ones we can light at 100 gigs and multiple 100 gigs. Where we were not able to get procure dark fiber, we're looking at managed circuits, and these orange-brown lines are the managed circuits that are currently getting implemented, and these thick ones will initially be, they would be at 100 gig, and then the other ones across, in terms of our regional links, how we get into the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Northwest, Northern Cape. As Dr. Sitolo also mentioned, where there is no infrastructure, and this is the case for the SKA, we're building a dark fiber link from Carnarvon to Beaufort West, and then it will leverage off the dark fiber to Cape Town. And then in terms of the undersea cables, these are the ones, WAX, SAT3, and SAC, the via Monet to Miami. And I've put in a little picture here just to show you that on the East Coast, that goes up to Amsterdam. On the West Coast, we go up to London. And then on WAX and SACs and the Monet cable, we end up in Miami. And then this is a little diagram of the metro network. So these are the sites in the metro areas, and these are in where these circles are denoted: Cape Town and PEs, London, Durban, Bloem, Johannesburg. And these maps are all available on our website if you would like further info. What we also have is just a map, real time, that shows you of links and the utilization. So green, it means it's not, I mean, in terms of its utilization, there's threshold set, and you can see that on the key on the website. Red would mean that the link is down for some reason, and many times it's due to fiber breaks or construction work that has damaged the fiber. If you zoom in deeper into the areas, you can get down to city level, and this shows you how the sites are connected. This is not how the fiber is actually run. This is just point to point between the sites, to give you an idea. Then in terms of the major projects that we're currently busy with, as I mentioned, where we weren't able to procure dark fiber, we are meshing up the gaps with managed bandwidth circuits. As part of a project that Tenet is running, we also supporting the connection of the TVET campuses, the technical vocational education and training campuses to the network, and we're augmenting our network to carry that traffic. Where we have contract expiries that will happen in future, we're busy refreshing those contracts. And these are for the metro networks. I've captured a few of the links that we are doing. This includes links to SALT, the South African Large Telescope, and then, as I mentioned before, the build from Carnarvon to Beaufort West. What we do in terms of communicating progress to our constituency, we also have a page on our website that where our constituency can look at the progress, and it's just the implementation status on the high level of what is being built, what is being refreshed, with some status updates. Then in terms of some of the major services on the South African NREN, EduRoam, as we've discussed earlier in the program, we've also got the South African Identity Federation, and both EduRoam and Sapphire were incubated at SANREN, and then they were handed over to Tenet for production service. We also have a performance enhancement response team. So this team is about looking at bottlenecks in the network, where our users are struggling to move their data. This team will help resolve any of those problems. We provide a service through our data transfer node to transfer large files, and this is typically in the gigabytes or the terabytes size. And then this is currently at 10 gig. I see that 10 gig is missing, but the team is working on upgrading the hardware that underpins the service to 100 gig capable hardware. And then in terms of the software that is used, we use Globus. Then as part of the network upgrade, I mean, we're getting a lot of capacity in our network. It also, we have to look at ways that we would secure the network. And for that, we have established in 2016 the SANREN CCERT. And there's two functions. There's a proactive function that is taken care of the SANREN CCERT, and TENET has a team that does the reactive focus. So this is typically when an incident has occurred and an institution needs assistance. So the team there is geared for that. The CCERT is accredited by Trusted Introducer, and it has been accepted as a full member of FIRST in February last year. Then as part of HCD, in terms of the security domain, SANREN runs the annual Cybersecurity Challenge as part of the CHPC National Conference. And this year's event took place this past weekend. And it was nice to see a lot more Sadc member universities taking part in the competition. And the winners will be announced at tomorrow's awards event. And then just in terms of our future plans, support for the digitalization of our higher education environment. With the pandemic, it's put in a lot of challenges. And as was mentioned earlier, you know, in order to deal with it, a lot of it was emergency and to try and get remote learning and students studying. But going forward, we need to look at how we support those students. And Dr. Sitole then also discussed how we're providing a lot of capacity to our university campuses, but with students studying remotely, there's a challenge for them to get access to connectivity where they are. We're also trying to mesh up our network so that we can handle multiple concurrent network breaks. We'll continue to support the connection of the TVET campuses, and we would upgrade the bandwidth as required as the demand grows, and then support for Sarau and the SKA as their bandwidth requirements are required. And then we'll continue to find ways to connect all the higher education campuses where it's feasible. I mean, some of the campuses are a bit remote. There is a very little infrastructure. And as SANREN gets its infrastructure from the market, as the market's footprint grows, that allows us to then provision those connections. And that is it from me. I can take any questions if there are.
Many thanks, Jay Makani, for presenting the South African National Research and Education Network, but also Tertiary Education Network, TENET. On some of your slides, I think you did give statistics regarding the number of active NRENs in the world, over 130. In Africa, you highlighted Zamlane, KNET for Kenya. I'm sure that Zambia, Tanzania, Malawi, Marin, and others also would eventually be captured. I see Zambia already staying Kandawire raising up his hand, and I would like also to invite any other. There's Lelato Resoto also be speaking. So we'll start with Zambia. Stay in Kandawire. Over.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just want to add on my colleague's presentation. To state that the NRENs are not for profit. And they sustain themselves by levying their member institutions. So member institutions are not called clients. So in the language on the world of NRENs, institutions that join an NREN, they're called member institutions. And so we see that Africa has been partitioned into three. We have got the northern part, which is under a regional body called ASREN. Then we've got the western part, which is under WACREN. Then we've got the eastern and southern part, which is under UbuntuNet Alliance. So UbuntuNet Alliance is in Malawi. Its headquarters is in Malawi. And so all member states belong to UbuntuNet Alliance. And maybe the other thing that colleagues would like to find out is what are the benefits? So the benefits are enormous, ranging from reduced pricing, because we have commercial internet service providers. And so we find that education and research institutions cannot manage to get that capacity from commercial internet service providers. So the only way is to get through a regional body and also to belong to their NRENs in their countries. So the regional bodies procure capacity on behalf of member NRENs. But when you look at South Africa and Kenya, these are the NRENs that were born first in Africa. So their capacities are much, much bigger than if you combine some NRENs within the UbuntuNet Alliance. They will not match with the TENET and KENET. But basically, all NRENs belong to a regional body. And so the regional bodies, they have got some funding which they get also. So we have, like for UbuntuNet Alliance, we had at first Africa Connect 1 project, which was trying to interconnect. So we're interconnected, these NRENs are interconnected, each NREN to another NREN, and also to provide redundancy and backup. And also the pricing comes down for these member NRENs. And services. So we have EDIROM, which is being talked about, so which is being talked up so much. So you must have a route where all these EDIROM will point to. So we point to UbuntuNet Alliance, and the beauty about EDIROM, as we presented earlier on, is to ensure that researchers and academicians or students have access to internet wherever EDIROM is deployed. So we try to promote EDIROM because we know if I move to South Africa, many times I've been to South Africa, I get connected to internet at no cost. So I can go to Malawi, and equally Malawi will get connected. I mean, I'll get connected to internet at no cost. So here in Zambia, we interconnect with Malawi. So Malawi's connectivity comes through Zambia. And we also interconnect with Zimbabwe. And there is a route that is being proposed to interconnect with Congo DR. And so we see that also UbuntuNet Alliance has brought in the Google Cache, which resides here in Zambia, and have installed their servers, which are supposed to install some and configure some services for member NRENs. Basically, this is how NRENs operate. They are not for profit, but their intent or the objective to procure good amount of bandwidth for their member NRENs. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Stein Mkandawire, for giving us a context also of the NRENs and that they are NPOs. This is very important, and the capacity is the aspects of that. Any other interventions? Hpc Tole says one of the key things we need to discuss in this panel is to look at EDIROM across Sadc to enable free travel and connectivity across NRENs, strategies on ensuring efficient access to infrastructure for NRENs. This is very correct. I think that's the principle, and the issues of digital certificates and I think authentication, it becomes of great interest along this across the NRENs. So that's what Dr. Sithole is saying. We were supposed to have another, I think I saw another hand up. Yes, Relato. And Stein, you can lower your hand, and Relato, you have the floor. Lesotho.
Oh, thank you, Chair. My name is Lerato from the National University of Lesotho. Thanks for the brilliant presentations. I'm very happy about the NRENs topic, and in particular SANREN topic. But to keep my questions short, I think Mr. Kandawire has answered most of my questions. But one question maybe to him or to the previous presenter is whether UbuntuNet still doesn't, include South Africa in terms of, funding for the NRENs. I'm saying that because Lesotho is in the center of South Africa. So if South Africa is seen as one of the countries that may be excluded when certain benefits are given in terms of, donations regarding NRENs, we are at a disadvantage because we are inside that particular country. So to access a dark fiber, perhaps from maybe Malawi, Zambia, Botswana, and so on, will be a challenge to us because we still have to go through South Africa. Maybe the panel can advise us as a country as to what to do. Maybe once we have planned on our NREN, but the connectivity through which we get to the internet will be through South Africa, and maybe the panelists can advise us on the steps to take, even if it's not in this meeting, in order for Lesotho to have those high-speed networks through South Africa, even if it means we connect to SANREN, but in the context of being part of the UbuntuNet Alliance and other similar bodies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Relato Lesotho, for that. You remind me of long time back when we used to have SATA, Southern Africa Telecommunications Association, and we were programming that time regarding landing of subsea cables, which we see South Africa exploiting even beyond 3 to have a lot of redundancy. We designed this, and that time the idea was that indeed we should have seamless, long hauls or back hauls with high speed capacity across all the countries, so to support the NRENs, because as Hpc did say, that the key thing to make even the HPCs fully functional remotely or virtually is to have an open high-speed socket that you are sitting almost in front of that, even though you're remotely connected. That's critical, very critical. And therefore, we need to have a deliberate discussion regarding what we know as existing NRENs and the Africa Connect 3, which is coming to Botswana through our Ubuntu Alliance or Ubuntu Connect and all that, switching that to our NICs as proposed or as established. I think this is the kind of thing that we are looking at. So Ajay has his hand up. And please, Ajay, address this. And thank you for the beautiful maps for Tenet and SANREN and all that, and all the capacity from 1 gigabyte per second up to 100. That was very interesting. And I see also Henry Simfukwe. This is becoming very interesting. But Ajay first. No, what should we do? Henry first, and then Ajay, you crown it all, and then we can move. And Lerato can lower his hands. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, just to answer maybe the question that Lerato has raised, I think one of the things that Lesotho can do is maybe contact UbuntuNet Alliance And I think one of the things that they should indicate is that they would love to be part of the Africa Connect 3 project, so that in the planning process, they are also included. But also them being at the center of South Africa puts them at an added advantage, because then they can even maybe talk to Tenet. Then Tenet can also maybe provide them a link at a lower cost for a start. So maybe those are the ways that they can look into.
Chair, maybe before Jay comes in, let me just guide on Henry's contribution. The way UbuntuNet Alliance works, it works on membership. It's a membership-based organization. So Lesotho needs to become a member of UbuntuNet Alliance. And for Africa Connect 3 project, there's a participation fee that each member NREN must pay. And so they will procure the circuits on behalf of that member state so that you are connected to UbuntuNet. So Rerato doesn't need to worry. They need to join UbuntuNet Alliance, and UbuntuNet Alliance will add them to the list of member NRENs that want to participate in Africa Connect 3. Africa Connect 3 project is funded by the European Commission, and each participating NREN is supposed to pay, all the participating member NRENs will pay 20% of the total cost of procurement of those circuits and services. There will also be trainings that will be offered to member NRENs that will participate in Africa Connect 3 project. And of more importance is the participation of women, which is being encouraged so much in Africa Connect 3 project. So we encourage Rerato to get in touch with the UbuntuNet Alliance so they can become members, as the case is with the Botswana and Zim also, Zimbabwe now, because they had two NRENs, now they've dropped, they only have one NREN now, which is a member of UbuntuNet Alliance. So let Rerato join, and it is the duty of UbuntuNet Alliance to procure circuits that will go to Lesotho at lower costs. Thank you very much.
And that's very correct, sitting where the headquarters is. Thank you, Stein Kandawile. And that's why he was emphasizing that these are regional connectivity blocks. West Africa has Worklane. We have Ubuntu Connect. Thank you for that. Yes, I see a hand up from Resotho Akiba Masiyu. Is it the odd hand or a new one?
No, it's a new one, new hand. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I've just had I've just had a nice news now. Like I'm just doing a follow-up for my colleague Datel Rato, the question that he has made. So I just want to know, please guide us. I'm from the Ministry of Communication, in fact, Ministry of ICT. So can I get where can I get registration? I think we need to work on how to get that access to that network. So I need some guidance on how to work on that one, so that I can.
Stein, can I take you aside that you work to guide Risotto, Seattle? Is that okay?
That's fine, Chair. There's no problem. I think he can get my email address from Edward, if you're happy, and also my phone number, which is on WhatsApp. Then we can pick it up from there.
Excellent, excellent. Let's do that. Thank you. Risotto and safe hands. Henry, you still have your hand up, Henry.
Sorry. I just forgot to lower it.
Okay. So that is lowered. Ajay, do you have last words, Ajay, before you leave? Do you have anything else to respond to? Okay.
No, thank you, Chair. So Stein has answered the question about getting connection, and that is making an application for membership to UbuntuNet Alliance. The only thing that I can add is 2 or 3 years ago, we did engage the Lesotho Communications Authority and NICI's members to try and guide of how to establish the NREN in Lesotho and trying to get that going. So if Lerato would like some of that context and that history, I would be glad to provide it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So now I think we have exhausted Anneline, and I think this was a very, very interesting engagement that we had. Could we now proceed to the last? Is it last or last but one? Or it's Anneline? Is Anneline back now? Let me see. It's not back.
I never left you, Chair. I'm here.
Yeah, okay,
I'm multitasking.
All right, okay.
I'm connected to the other meeting, but Edward will support me if it's my turn to give a presentation in the other meeting, but I'm here. So I can quickly just share, and thank you to AJ for that presentation. I think what we try to do, Chair, is that we don't only focus on the updates or where we are in terms of high performance computing, but the Sadc cyber infrastructure framework is holistic and it includes the establishment of NREN. So we are also supporting and seeing how we can support member states in the establishment of NRENs. And thank you to Mr. Stein for also making that input, but for always providing assistance through the Ubuntu Net Alliance. Maybe also for my own knowledge, Stein, is it for free to join Ubuntu Net Alliance, or member states need to pay a fee?
Please stay in, take that up, that question, or Henry Sipukwe.
Or AJ can, whoever can respond that has the.
Yeah, it looks like the colleagues are not here.
Okay.
There's a fee that you have to pay. And as Stein was indicating, Ubuntu Net Alliance, the person who was the CEO was based in Malawi. I think he's in transition at the moment, but all the information will be provided to the member states for that.
Yeah, I can confirm that the headquarters in terms of building is still in Malawi. The CEO was Malawian. Now we have a new transition by this end of this month. Yeah, but I think Sten will take it up from there on WhatsApp. There is 20% contributory, fee for membership, and how much that translates to, and everything else will be discussed. But the fact is, we have seen indeed a drop of per megabit per second cost from 815 and disclosed agreement rates per month to 80. So a drop by maybe 10%. Or lower, so around $80 or whatsoever in different other countries. And I think Zambia, Zamren has been leading in terms of really getting it as low as possible, but also liberalizing that to several other institutions and and beneficiaries institutions. So let's have the Sadc CEO Center of Excellence on ICT. I think this is by Anneline Morgan, some few slides within the framework of cyber infrastructure. Over to you, Anneline. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. This will be very quick. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear.
Yeah, thank you. It will be very quick. It's just an update on the proposed Center of Excellence on ICT. This is led by our my colleague, Dr. George Athu, who couldn't make it today, but he's leading the ICT program in the Sadc Secretariat under the Directorate for Infrastructure. So just a quick background to the member states, and some of them did attend the validation workshop that took place in September. But the establishment of the Sadc Regional Center on ICT is part of a project contained in the Digital 2027, and this is Sadc's Digital 2027 framework. As part of the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020-2030. But it's also in line with the resolution or declaration which was taken by the Sadc Ministers of ICT in September of 2017 in Durban, South Africa, where they issued a declaration on fourth industrial revolution through ICTs, through the use of ICTs in the Sadc region. But also in line, if you look at the Sadc protocol on transport, communication and meteorological services of 1996, a chapter on that focuses on ICT, and hence the framework or the strategy on the infrastructure development master plan looks at ICT as part of the Sadc Digital 2027. And this proposed center of excellence will also include postal services, as a way of to help drive rapid targeted improvements in the quality of ICT training and skills. Because if you look at ICT at Sadc, it includes communications, because they also deal with the postal services industry. So the validation workshop was a virtual workshop which took place on the 16th and 17th of September. Virtually, and it was chaired by Malawi, as Malawi is the chair currently of Sadc. It was officially opened by the Director General, the Acting Director General of the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Mr. Henry Sileka. But also there was a keynote address by Francis Piseka, the Principal Secretary of e-Government from the Ministry of Information from the Republic of Malawi. And then the experts meeting itself was chaired by Mr. Christopher Banda, the ICT Development Manager for the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, MECRA, who chaired the two-day experts meeting. But you can see that the Principal Secretary highlighted the need for skills development in ICT, but also to boost Sadc's productivity in terms of economic growth in the region. So the validation workshop was attended by over 138 delegates, because it was virtual, representing 14 countries, and those are the member states who participated. I'm not going to read them because we'll share the presentation. We also had the Sadc agencies, which is the Sadc ICT regional implementing agencies, namely the Communications Regulatory Association of Southern Africa, which is CRASA, and the Southern African Telecommunications Association, SATA, and the Southern African Postal Operators Association, SAPOA. So these are our implementing agencies who are accredited to Sadc. They are Sadc agencies actually established under the framework of Sadc. So they were also participating. The CEOs of those three agencies were part of the validation workshop. So the main purpose is that we commissioned a study to look at the viability of establishing a regional center of excellence on ICT. And we looked at different centers that are already existing in the region and how this we can provide capacities in the area of ICT in the region, but also skills development that needs to be filled. We also need to look at the issues of research support, but also the key emerging technologies such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, and we also included actually the issue of high performance computing as part of the discussions in the meeting. But we also needed to highlight the important need for regional research and innovation activities as part of the ICT sector, which needs to be looked at. And I think this needs to be linked to the work that this committee is doing. So we'll have to work closely with the ICT sector, which is mainly the ministries of ICT and communication, and they need to link up with the ministries of science and technology through this committee, the Sadc Cyber Infrastructure Committee, so that there are linkages. And hence, a number of the colleagues, we made sure they participated in the validation workshop. We engaged a consultant, Dr. Gires, from Mauritius, who did the study for the establishment of the Center of Excellence, and it kicked off with an inception meeting. And then he did the necessary data collection, and then the report was then presented to the experts meeting in September through the validation workshop. As part of the study, we can share the report also as part of this meeting. He also looked at different case studies. The consultant looked at different case studies of existing centers of excellence, such as those accredited by SATA, those under the Pan-African E-Network, but then also those supported by other partners, such as the government of India, who is supporting centers of excellence, for example, in Lesotho, Namibia, Seychelles, and the United Republic of Tanzania. He also looked at the ITU accredited centers of excellence, which is, for example, the Mauritius CERT, and also Center of Excellence in South Africa and Botswana through B3, CSR, and CSR through the Miraka Institute, and I think also part of that included the Center for High Performance Computing. So those were also part of the case studies that we looked at within the study, and it's part of the report which we can share. So some of the recommendations that came out of the study from the consultant was that two options, either to look at a hub approach where there's a central hub and then there are nodes that are connected, and the different focus areas be obviously on ICT regulation, cybersecurity, digital literacy, professional ICT certifications, educational instructional technologies, Internet of Things, big data, and then AI, blockchain technology. And I think as part of that, we had also included high performance computing to be added as part of the focus areas. And then as part of the report, the consultant looked at the whole issue of the ICT value chain as part of the Center of Excellence that needs to be established. So those were the two alternatives that looked at an independent, fully fledged ICT Center of Excellence hub, host in an existing institution in one of the member states. So for example, if you take, for example, the Center for High Performance Computing, which could be designated as the hub for the Center of Excellence, or being the center in Namibia through the Center of Excellence in Namibia. So those are the different options. I'm just giving those as examples. The other option was an ICT Center of Excellence hub as a division under the Sadc Virtual University of Transformation. The Sadc Virtual University of Transformation, it's still in an inception phase. They are still developing the university. It's not yet taken off. So that was the other alternative, to look at it as a hub as part of the Sadc University of Transformation, which is currently being developed. And then it looked at some of the criteria should be in terms of the most responsive, in terms of speed and formulation, execution of plans, less costly to implement. It should also have a less bureaucratic structure. This was in terms of the governance structure, but it must also be inclusive in terms of member states and Sadc Secretariat and various related initiatives. Some of the considerations that came out of the experts validation meeting was the issue of the need to do a comprehensive ICT skills gap analysis so that the ICT will act as an enabler towards an inclusive society, preventing the digital divide and promoting social and economic development. And some of the other areas was around the Sadc Regional ICT Center of Excellence to incorporate aspects such as entrepreneurship to be offered, for example, looking at small and micro enterprises. So these are just some, but there are many of them that are listed in the report. I've just uplifted some of the considerations. Thank you, Chair. That was just a quick update, but also to share with member states, we can share the report from the validation meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Many thanks for this great report, ICT Center of Excellence proposition for the Sadc region. And this is awesome. I think I'll just open up for any possible comments from member states on this. She has rightly said that this must work hand in hand with this community on cyber infrastructure because of the intertwining. We already saw that the cyber infrastructure framework was approved by the ministers responsible for ICTs and communications previously. Comments, questions on this? Are we tired? It looks like numbers are dwindling from 70 to 47, but also that there are no more interventions. What's the next? Maybe Anneline, this could be that is taken note of. And then maybe we could have, if they are, okay, I see a message. Quite a detailed report. So that's from Fungai Bunu Shava. Thank you for that. Yeah, very detailed report. Yes. Anything else from the program? After this report and entrance, I do not see any other commitments regarding presentations. Are there presenters who have been notified and ready? There's Jabu Mutsweni, Kate Hile, Dr. Bing, Prof. Regina Mapanga, Mr. Temba Ngobeni, and then Prof. Maro Mora.
Chair, maybe on that one, that is now in the main conference.
Okay.
Not part of this conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you, the colleagues will go back to the lobby of the main conference, and after this, exactly at 16:30, we have got a keynote that is coming. So we will have to maybe wrap up so that we can go and join the lobby and move to those other presentations. Thank you, Chair.
All right, so wait a minute. So for the keynote address, it's coming. My time here is 16:11. Is it at 16:30 in like 29 minutes or in 19 minutes, or it is at the 17:30? How many minutes do we have?
Yeah. 16:30. So it's 16:30.
Okay. So it's the same time zone with South Africa. So we just have a break as we go to the lobby or join those ones. Within 19 minutes, we have to be back here. I will not log out. I think I will remain here and see that we have the keynote address, and that will conclude our session for today. Correct?
That is correct, Chair. And I can encourage member states to attend both keynotes that are coming. The one by Dr. Kate Kehi, she comes from University of Chicago, and she will be talking about the chameleon. As you can see, is the design of the clouds. And since we are interested in the design of the clouds and the tools, that will be a very interesting presentation to attend. The next keynote, the one by Jabu Mutsweni, and also I think is Jabu Mutsweni and
Ashwell Jenica.
And Ashwell Jenica from Statistics South Africa. This is about the National Data Observatory, and it will show you how the clouds have been used throughout the management of the pandemic by the National Corona Command Center, the presidency. So this is a committee that is meeting every week to provide the data collected from the cloud and processing that data and advise the government on management of the pandemic. So they will be talking about those things. So member states, after some few minutes of refreshing, should join those keynote addresses, because they will be very interesting as a follow-up from what we've been talking about. Thank you, Chair.
And is it this same link that will be having the keynote, or they will be migrated to another?
You go into the main conference site.
And click on there. Okay.
Yeah, and click on there. Let me see if I can be able to see it from here, Chair, so that I can show the member states where to go. Yeah. If I can just share my desktop screen here. Yeah. Is here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So basically, you'll go to the program, and then you can click on that. Where is the one that I want? It's for Thursday.
Yeah, today from 16:30. Yeah.
So this is the one that we need. I think I will go into the conference website quickly. And we'll go into the agenda. So if you go into this main website, you see that it says join the conference, and everybody has already registered here. So in join the conference, it will be giving you this. So you can go to the program, and once you are in the program, you can go and highlight on the program of today is this one. So these are the ones which are left. You just click on this, then this screen will come, and you just click on go to the event. So it will play some nice music for you, and it will show you that you've got 14 minutes and 3 seconds before the event. And then when the event starts, then you are in. So that's all what we have to do.
That's what we wanted. Yeah, happy to tell you are good. You have properly migrated all of us. Make sure that no one misses out the keynotes, the 2 keynotes.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. Bye-bye. I leave God.
Chair, can I propose that instead of breaking and coming back, we just wrap up? We've got a few minutes to 4:30. That we wrap up and close the meeting because it will be difficult to bring back everybody.
Yes.
So let me just give the roadmap quickly, and then we can then have the close with your permission, Chair.
Yes, granted. Proceed.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so just to do the quick, my slides can move, yeah. So we had, yes, if you look at the framework, Chair, that was adopted by the ministers, there's as part of the framework, there's a governance structure, a very elaborative governance structure that we have started to operationalize. And one of that is, for example, the setting up of the steering committee and the subcommittees. We've succeeded in setting up the various experts working groups, for example, as shown in the framework itself. What we have not yet done is to convene as a steering committee based on the representation of the various working groups. So I think that's something we need to fast track in the new year under your chairmanship, Chair. So just to highlight that in 2019, when we met at our 9th meeting, the steering committee was selected. It's made up of Tanzania, Mozambique, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia. And these are the chairpersons who are representing the various working groups. For example, the working group on human capital development, that's HTC. It's led by Namibia, supported by Lesotho and Zimbabwe. The working group on research data is led by Botswana, supported by South Africa and Namibia, Mozambique and Tanzania. And then the infrastructure working group is led by South Africa, supported by Mozambique, Zambia, Lesotho, Tanzania. And the research and development and innovation working group is Zimbabwe, led by Zimbabwe, supported by Tanzania, Botswana, Mozambique, Namibia, and Zambia. And obviously, because Malawi has not been participating in the various committees, we are happy, Chair, that you select which working group you'd like to participate in. It can be more than one, where Malawi can be participating in those working groups. And I think as the new chair of Sadc, we'll have to include Malawi as part of the steering committee because we said we will follow the Sadc Troika system of the steering committee. The steering committee, it's 7 members. The working group, we said a minimum of 3 members, but it can be more. And then the steering committee will sit for and be rotational on a 3-year basis. So after 3 years, we will rotate and have new members in the steering committee. And the steering committee, through the working groups, need to develop what we call work plan of activities on the various focus areas, which is those highlighted there. And I think we just need to fast track this because of COVID that hit in 2020. We're not really able to convene these working groups, but I think under your leadership, Chair, we'll have to convene the working groups. Some of the actions and recommendations from this meeting, which I've tried to put together, is that we thank all countries for the presentations, and we encourage you to please email the presentations to myself and Edward. But we did design a template which we adopted also in 2019. So we'll send to all countries also to populate the template, and we'll give you till next year March as the cutoff, but obviously earlier, because these are, we want to then prepare the report for the ministers, because every year we need to formulate the report for the ministers. And then also we need to finalize the terms of reference for the steering committee. That should be March 2022. I can just correct it quickly. 2022, we need to finalize the terms of reference for the steering committee chair. And then we also said that the working groups need to finalize their work plans. So if they can submit their work plans also between now and March. And then we also discussed preliminary in 2019, the regional student cluster competition. And I think this is something we need to now fast track. We said the working group dealing with human capital needs to lead on this so that we can present a concept to the ministers on having a regional student cluster competition that we can run as a region, obviously modeled on the South African student cluster competition, which happens annually during the HPC conference. One of the other things that came out of the ministers' meeting this year was the issue of COVID-19 and how the cyber infrastructure can be used to respond to COVID-19. I think there was also another decision on the education sector, that we need to convene an experts meeting between this committee and the education sector. And I think already through Professor Martin's presentation, we can then leverage on that and convene a meeting early next year to see how we can then interface with the higher education sector through those issues that were raised in Professor Martin's presentation. And then obviously the program on the rollout of the infrastructure, capacity building, as the update that was given by Dr. Stolle, we'll have to update to see what are the plans for 2022. I think already it's been said Malawi is the next country. Lesotho, I think we are already progressing, but we'll have to see who are the other countries that have been left out, such as Eswatini, because I remember the decision by the ministers at the last meeting, I think it was in Eswatini, they said all countries should be covered. So we need to see which countries are left behind, such as Eswatini and other countries that need to be covered. But I'm happy that Malawi is now next as part of the 2022 plan. So we'll update this with Dr. Stolle and Edward and look at what programs for capacity building targeted for member states. We also said that, and I think Professor Singh highlighted it in his presentation for Namibia, the call to create more linkages with the UNESCO chairs in South Africa and Namibia. So we'll need to see how we can work with Namibia and South Africa through the different chairs and leverage to see how we can form a partnership at the regional level. We are also proposing, Chair, as an outcome of this meeting, that there be a 10-year celebration. As you saw from the message from Dr. Masisane, it's been 10 years, 11 years now that we've started this initiative. So we are proposing that we have a conference next year, a regional conference capturing the successes and achievements of the work we have achieved, and we're proposing this conference be next year. We are also proposing for a host country for this conference. So if member states can indicate they are volunteering to host the conference, but it will be a regional conference that we'll host, and we hope that it will be in person, but if a hybrid type of a conference. And then obviously we need to then submit the recommendations from the reports and the work to the ministers meeting, which will be next in Malawi 2022. Malawi will be hosting the ministers. As part of the preparations of the conference, we are proposing a task team to be established, Chair, and to plan for the conference, and that task team to be made up of the Troika. The Troika is Malawi, who is currently chairing Sadc, the outgoing chair, which is Mozambique, DRC as the incoming chair, and then we co-opt 3 additional member states to the task team. Obviously, the Sadc Secretariat will be part of the task team to prepare for the 2022 conference. And the task team will also prepare for the production of the 10-year report on Sadc CI implementation, looking at the challenges, successes, and opportunities. So we are also looking at producing a publication, Chair, capturing all this very good work that is being presented by the member states in a form of a report that we want to profile all of this work as part of it being presented at the conference, or a draft of such a report. And then also an update on the roadmap on implementation of the Sadc cyber infrastructure framework. And then, as I highlighted, prepare for the report for the ministers for the next meeting in June 2022. I thank you, Chair. That's just the recommendations from the way forward, which is the last item on our agenda. And then again, the next meeting will be next year, December 2022. But before the meeting in December, we want to have the conference, but we'll discuss with the task team how we manage that. Over to you, Chair.
Many thanks, Anneline, for this is a brilliant shot, As we have 4 minutes to conclude, at least we have the recommendations or resolutions, takeaway message or actions from this meeting that we had. I felt like maybe we would have a quick hand-up proposal volunteer country to host this next year. Maybe at least then we would update this immediately if we would endorse whosoever proposes. Is it too early to do that so that the task team can be working on already non-volunteer? Would that be too early?
Sorry, Chair, can you repeat that?
I'm saying regarding volunteers to host the CI, conference next year, the physical or in-person. I felt like maybe we would have at least already have had a volunteer and we endorse them, so that at least we have already an idea who is hosting, and then the task team can work from there.
Yes, I support that, Chair. I support that.
Yeah. So any volunteers, team, we are here, member states, those who say our country, and then we endorse you. Yeah. Any proposals for an in-person conference on CI to celebrate the work of the past 10 years since 2012, 2011, thereabout? No volunteers. Oh my God. Oh my God. You don't want us to visit your country. Malawi will be hosting the ministerial one in June. But obviously for the conference, we need another member states. All your beautiful countries, propose them and we endorse you.
I think let's give them some time to go and discuss with the political principles at home.
I get you. Let them consult and submit to Secretariat the propositions, and then the task team will review that and they will do a follow-up. Thank you, Dr. Hpc.
Yes. Maybe, Chair, just to ask maybe from the Secretariat if they will be providing some means of support. Maybe we should also start there in terms of the resources to countries that will volunteer to host. Maybe that can help.
And
oh, sorry, Chair, you mute yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yes, Anneline, I was giving the floor to Anneline. Is there any inducement or lubricant to support acceleration of volunteering to host such a conference? That's a question from Edward Arakat. We've lost Anneline, and I think in that case, then let's keep. What has happened? Yeah, so I think let's hold it at the level that we have discussed, that let member states submit. They can ask these questions to Sadc Secretariat. Yeah. Okay, I think then we can wind up and now go to the link. It's 16:30. The keynote should be ready. Bye-bye. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone, and thanks Chair for the good sharing of this session. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.